welcome to another video. I'm going to be testing out some paint pens in this video. These are by Ohuhu. I got sent some pens a while ago from Ohuhu. They were these alcohol markers and I really enjoyed them. So when they reached out asking if I'd like to try out some other pens, I was more than happy to because I really liked their other pens. Plus I just thought they'd be cool to try out. Trying to get this off. Oh my gosh. Okay. I have already looked inside these, so this isn't a surprise to me. For complete transparency, they did send me these pens. Of course, all the opinions which I'm going to say in this video will be my own. This is my honest review. I very rarely use paint pens, and when I have, I've always used Poscas, and I've just always been a bit disappointed by Posca pens. I mean, they're a very well-known brand, but maybe I've just had bad luck, but I've never found them to be that opaque. And again, this is probably me just having bad luck with Poscas. I remember I had a white Posca pen, which I used for quite a bit, but it was just never really that white. But maybe I just had bad luck with the pens I got. Each set's of 24 colours, but in this one there is 2 sizes for each pen. Big thick pens, and then there's a smaller version of each colour. So super fine tip. And then on the other pens, they are brush tips. These cases are so nice. Such a cute case. Like I could either take all these pens out and use this as just a travel art supply case. Anyway, I'm getting distracted by nice packaging. I'll quickly say the packaging feels really nice and sturdy, and don't have any complaints about the packaging at all. Alright, so what I'm going to do to start with, like I start all my kind of product review videos, is I'm going to do some swatching. Okay, so I'm going to start filling out these sheets with all the different colours and get a better idea of what I'm working with here, then pick out a palette and make something nice. But first, let's fill these in. Alright, so the first pens I was trying out were the brush pens. Unlike other paint pens I've used, and I'll use it in a second, you don't have to do that kind of pump thing, which you'll see me do in a second. These are just ready to use straight away, although it does say you have to shake them, which sometimes I did forget to shake them later on when I'm doing the finished piece. Well, you'll see in a second. Well, not a second. You'll see in a few minutes when I do the finished piece, but there were a few moments where I forgot to shake it, and I'm thinking, why isn't this colour really opaque? Oh yeah, shaking it does make a big difference. The first few, mainly the pale colours I noticed, the white, the pale yellow, the yellow and the pink in this set. I had to do 2 coats to get them to go to their full opaqueness, but for everything else they were just super opaque straight away. You can see here how much they pop on the black, super bright. Yes, I was very impressed with these. And then for the other ones, the thicker pens and the other set, basically, the ones with the thick and the thin pens, you have to do the kind of pump thing, which doesn't really take that long, and it's quite satisfying actually to see the paint gradually come down. I'd say these ones were slightly more opaque than the other ones, but not that noticeable. I guess just because more paint is coming out with these, the paint just comes out thicker, so it's going to be more opaque. You see here the paint coming down. Oh, it's so satisfying. But yeah, I didn't have any issues with these. Sometimes in the past with other paint pens brands which I've used, trying to get the paint to come down into the pen, it's just a bit of a hassle. It just takes ages. So yeah, those are the swatches. Nice bright colours, very opaque, but just on a few of them having to do 2 layers to get the super bright opaqueness from them. After I did those swatches, I just thought I would scribble in my sketchbook for a bit, just seeing how the layers overlap with each other. Not the layers, seeing how the colours overlap, seeing how long it takes, because when you first put the paint down, obviously it's paint, so it needs a few seconds to dry. So sometimes you you see in a second, I take advantage of the fact that the paint takes a few seconds to dry, more than a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds to be completely dry maybe. I mean, it depends how thick you put the paint on. Yeah, just seeing how they lay over the top of each other. Yeah, no complaints with them. A few, again, like I mentioned before, a few colours you have to do 2 layers to get them to be to their full opaqueness, but for the most part super bright and super nice. I decided to just try and draw a strawberry and make it as realistic as I could make it with the limits of paint pens, which, let me just say, I'm very unused to. That's a weird way to phrase that. I'm not very used to using paint pens in the slightest, so yeah, I tried my best with these. Yeah, here I was using the fact that they take a while to dry to my advantage, and I was kind of putting down one colour and then mixing another colour into it whilst it was wet, so you can get a little bit of colour variation depending on like how quick you are. If you're quick and you get there before the paint dries, you can kind of mix two colours together and it looks quite cool. And then I wanted to see how well my coloured pencils layer on top. It depends on how thick the paint is. If the paint's thick and you've really layered it up, the pencil doesn't really go on top because it's kind of got like a shininess to it, but for layers where you've just done like 1 or 2 layers of paint, the pencil goes on top nicely, which was good because I wanted to use pencils in a finished piece that I do in a second. So that was just my little play around with the media. I quite like that strawberry actually. I'm quite impressed with myself that I managed to do that, just because I'm such a novice when it comes to paint pens. Alright, so I finished filling these out. These are for this set here, so like the brush tips. There you go. And then this is the swatch for the other ones. From what I can see, I think the colours on this one are slightly brighter, although the colours are quite similar. There's a few differences, but and this one came with like gold and silver as well. But yeah, for the most part, the colours are almost the same, slightly different, ever so slightly different. Right, what I've done is I've gone through and picked out my colour palette. Here you go, and I've also been doing some planning behind the scenes. Quite a bit of time has passed. I have done some sketching and I figured out what I want to do, because usually in these like art product review video things, I usually, most of the time, I'll draw like a realistic portrait or paint, I don't know, I paint something somewhat realistic from a reference picture, but with these, obviously, these colours are very, very bright, so I would struggle to do a portrait, I think, with these colours. So I want to do something a little bit more illustrative and fun and cute. So I've just been sketching out some characters. Some of them are bad, some of them are good. I picked my favourite characters and I started to draw them in a scene here, and then I just realised it'd be quicker if I just took a picture of my favourite characters and then took that into Photoshop and I arranged them together in this scene, and then I found all my favourite colours here and swatched them on Photoshop, basically tried to colour match on Photoshop with like the colours I picked, and figured out what I'm going to draw and where the colours are going to go. So that's my plan. That's taken me couple of hours. I think it's going to look really cute. I mean, I love this sketch. I'm going to try my best with the paint markers today to do this piece justice. I really like this colour selection I've got here, so hopefully I can make it work. I'm not used to paint markers at all. My work is usually a completely different medium, so we'll see. Hopefully this turns out nice because I really like this sketch. So this is the colour palette. I think I might also use, I've been doing a few tests and they seem to work nicely on top. I might add a bit of coloured pencil on top, so it might not be just the paint markers. Look at that, it's like a maraca. I think I'm also going to do it on, this is slightly cream toned paper, obviously you can see compared to the white. Yeah, so I think I'm going to do it on this because I think it will complement the colours really nicely, and then I think it will look good because I'm going to do like white accents. It will really pop because the paper's obviously off-white. It's not the best paper, this, it's quite thin, so we'll see how it turns out. If it's not the best, I'll just try again on some different paper, some thicker white paper. Let's try and draw this. So I'm going to trace it out on here first and then get filling in the colours. One thing I didn't realise until I finished filming this video is that you can reverse the nib on the big chunky pens and you get a chisel tip on the other side, which is an interesting discovery. So kind of like two pens in one. And then also I wanted to share with you a discount code I've been given. It is this code up on screen. This gives you 10% discount on any products on the Ohuhu website and will last for 6 months. If you're watching this video within 6 months of it coming out, and you want some Ohuhu stuff, yeah, 10% off anything on the Ohuhu website. There you go. Okay, on with the video. Alright, so here I am moving on to making the final piece. I had so much fun making this. It was one of those moments where, you know, you just like turn your brain off and art just flows out of you and you don't realise how much time has passed, and like hours have passed, but it feels like no time has passed at all. I honestly had so much fun. Here I'm using, you can see this pink pen, I'm putting it down and it's not very opaque at all. The reason for that is because I didn't shake it. I'm putting it down here and I'm thinking, good God, this isn't very opaque in the slightest. And then after I finished filming, I realised, oh yeah, shake it. That's the thing I have to do. And then, yeah, it was fine after that. Just gotta remember to shake it. It does make a big difference. Right, so I've crunched some numbers, I've done the maths, I've done the calculations. Let's figure out the price of things. So this brush set here, which I'm using right now, is you get 24 pens for, well, on the Ohuhu website for £21, so that's 88p per pen. Alright, so there you go, that's that information. Then for the big set, it's £34.99. Is it pounds or is that in dollars? Let me check. Oh wait, that's in dollars. Oh, I've got to do the conversion. Give me a second. Alright, I've converted it. It's around £27, which means it's 56p per pen, because you get 48 pens in that set, but 48 pens but 24 colours, because you get 2 versions of each colour, thick and thin, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I thought let's compare it to more of the well-known brands. I don't know. When I think paint pen, the first brand which comes to mind is Posca. That's just what pops into my head. So I thought I would look at how much Posca pens cost, and honestly I was a bit shocked. So I thought I would see what it costs for a similar set. So to get a 24 set of Poscas. Now this was all over the place. I couldn't find like a set price. Websites were selling it for wildly different prices. Some websites were selling it for like £80, others. The cheapest one I could find was around £60. So for the Ohuhu pens, it's £21 for 24 pens, and for Posca pens it's around £60 for the same amount of pens. So that just puts it into perspective. Yeah, big price difference there. I think these are really good. I honestly have no complaints with them. I guess the only complaint would be for just a few of the colours. I had to do 2 layers to get the full opacity of the pen to come through, but I had a lot of fun with them. Obviously I've only used them once at this point. I don't know how long they last, how much kind of paint is in there. If I had to pick something, my main issue is like, I often find this with paint pens from my very small experience, is that the colours options are always very like bright and saturated. It's quite rare that I've seen like a dull or a muted, like earthy kind of colour for a Posca pen. Not Posca pen, for a paint pen. But yeah, so I'd like to see more of those kind of colours. Just that's my personal preference for colours, but I managed to make it work with these and pick out some colours which tickled my fancy. So yeah, there you go. Make of that what you will. I really enjoyed these pens, and I think they're worth the money if you want a budget-friendly option. Yeah, so for this piece, I wanted it to be kind of textured. You know me, I love some texture. So I was whipping out the pencils and doing some scribbles on top. I also used my Neo colours as well for a few bits and bobs, mainly for the snow, which you'll see in a second. I brought some snow into it. Yeah, the Neo colour was really nice to create like a soft fuzzy edge between colours. And it was also really nice, kind of not having the pressure of this has to look really good, because it is just paint pens, they are opaque. If something went badly, which it did a few times, you can just draw over it and start again, which I did that for the eyes on the bear and the fox, and on a few of the other animals I did. I just really didn't like the eyes, so I just coloured over it and started again. Same for this fox. I did the top bit of the face. I tried to shade it in with pencil, but it just wasn't looking very good. So later on I just completely cover that up with another colour and start again, which is one of the benefits of using an opaque medium, I suppose, is just cover it up if you don't like it. Here you can see I'm scribbling on top. I loved using the fine tip pens from the 48 set to get this really scribbly texture. Like I didn't want to purposely, like I was purposely leaving gaps between so you could see like the layer beneath, which I thought was a really nice texture. Oh, this mole has a special place in my heart. He's just a handsome little gentleman. You'll see him at the end. But it just came together so nice with this piece. I love the look of layering the pencil on top of like having that flattish background colour of just the paint pens with the scribbles on top with the pencil. I just think it's a really nice look, and I would like to experiment more with it actually. It's inspired me. Usually, if you're new to this channel, most of the time I do collage. I love a bit of collage, so it was just really nice to break free from that for an afternoon and just play around with some paint pens. You can see I'm just covering up those eyes on the bear because I did not like them. It took maybe 2 coats to fully cover them up, but yeah, it's just super easy to cover up, which is a bonus to the paint pens. And then just adding shadows underneath with my pencil. I think it's a really nice combination to have because obviously paint pens are very graphic and bold. To have that combined with the softness of a pencil is a really cool look, in my opinion, of course. And then afterwards, because I was doing this on just cream coloured paper, I did the fox's tail in the white, and then I noticed because it was kind of the only, other than like the whites of the eyes, it was the only really white bit on the piece, that it was just really standing out, especially because it was right next to the dark brown of the bear's pants. It was just really contrasting a lot, and it was just drawing your eyes immediately to that tail area. So I thought I needed to jot a bit more white around the piece, but I like the animal, so I thought, what can I do? Oh, snow. That'll be nice because it'll show up on the cream coloured paper, but I wanted it to look really soft, so I scribbled on like little circles with my Neocolor, and then used the white paint pen to just add a little dot in the middle, and then I kind of tapped it with my finger, and it kind of smudged it out a little bit, and it created just this really nice snow effect. My camera was struggling to capture the full essence of this piece. The colours were just really messed up on the camera. I don't know if it was because of like the cream coloured paper. Yeah, it just really didn't look what it actually looks like in real life on the camera. So I scanned it in, edited it a little bit just to clean it up a little bit, especially like the frog's face. I just got rid of that second eye at the back because I didn't like it when I was editing it. So this scanned in version and slightly edited version, just to get rid of a few smudges and mainly fix that frog's face, is what it actually looks like. This is a much more accurate representation of the piece because the camera was really struggling to capture the colours properly. And with that, that's the end of the video. I really enjoyed working with these pens, and it's inspired me. I just want to do more of it, to be honest, and more characters because they were so fun. Really enjoy these pens. I would recommend them. I think they're great value for money for what you get, and they get the job done. Also, thank you to Ohuhu for sending me these pens, sponsoring this video. Those are my thoughts and my feelings. Everything will be linked in the description if you want to try out these pens for yourself. And that's it. That's the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed seeing my little creatures come to life. And that's it from me. Goodbye.